Forgive me my weakness, but I don't know why. Without you, it's hard to survive. 'Cause every time we touch, I get this feeling, and every time we kiss, I swear I could fly. Can't you feel my heart beat fast? I want this to last. Need you.
Hello guys, and yep, this is the final video on macronutrients. So what this means is we've done the proteins, we've done the carbohydrates, now we're on to the fats. So fats, it's going to be a little bit longer this video since there's a lot more to cover. There's lots of different types of fats. I knew it was going to be a tricky one in terms of keeping it very, very simple, and I might be going a little bit out of depth in terms of how simple it is. However, just bear with us, and yeah, we'll get through this video. So to start with, this is the importance of fats in the diet. So as again, I've got my notes written down, which I'm referring to, because I would hate to get things wrong. I don't want no lawsuits or anything like that. So yeah, so to start with, fats are a type of nutrient that we get from your diet, obviously, macronutrients. So it's essential to get some fats though, although some can be harmful. Yeah, people think, oh well, if I eat fat, I'm going to be fat. It's a bit more than that really. So fats give us energy, and they also help our body work properly. So during exercise, your body uses calories from carbohydrates that you've already eaten previously. But after 20 minutes of exercise, depending on the calories that you've gotten from fat, you might need them to keep going. So yeah, fat helps you keep going. Also, you need fat for healthy skin and healthy hair. Yeah, people will be thinking, what are you talking about? Yeah, that's true. That's a fact. Fat also helps you absorb the micronutrients, which are vitamins A, D, E, and K, and they're called the fat soluble vitamins. So that's vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, and vitamin K. Right, so they're fat soluble. So having enough fat in your diet helps you absorb them. And I'll also leave a link in the description for an app that tells you all about vitamins. And I'll also leave the one for MyFitnessPal too. That's for anybody who's wanting to sort of further this on, wants to know what's in the food, etc. There you go. That's what this is for. Also, fats that your body gets from food, like essential fatty acids, they're essential acids because your body can't make them itself, so it has to get them from food which has fat in. So your body can't work properly without them either. And I think they're called linoleic. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not 100%. It's a very, very, very tricky word. But anyway, there's two of them, and the pair of them are essential fatty acids. And without them, your body will not work properly. It needs them for your brain development. It also needs them for controlling inflammation, and also blood clotting too. So yeah, you need essential fatty acids. People are thinking, oh, fat. That's why is that in food for? It's got to be in every food. And oh, why should I eat it for? I shouldn't eat it. There's good fats and bad fats. And right now, I'm going to go into saturated fat, which is very bad fat. You understand on saturated fat, as it stands, is you're supposed to have a lot less than what you would normally fat in your diet, like normal fats. It's still a tricky area for us. I'm still learning a lot about it, but I've got a lot of notes written down about it, so that can help me out. So anyway, saturated fat. Saturated fats raise your LDL, which is bad cholesterol level, LDL. High cholesterol puts you at risk of a heart attack, stroke, and other really bad health problems. So yeah, you need to stay away from bad cholesterol. You should avoid or limit foods that are high in saturated fat, for that matter really. It's not just foods with like normal fats in, so like just fat itself. These are saturated fats, and these are bad fats. Like you see on MyFitnessPal, it comes up with what saturated fat, well, not necessarily what they are, but it tells you how many you should be having. So if you want to lower your risk of getting all them types of problems and stuff, I recommend getting MyFitnessPal. I really do recommend getting it. Same for the all the macronutrients and micronutrients. Tells you how many vitamins you have and how many minerals you're getting out of things. Oh, it's a great app. So yeah, that's why I put it in every description. So let's get into it. So keeping saturated fats to less than 6% of your daily calorie intake. So really, I would use MyFitnessPal for that, because that's it can get really tricky and really complicated. So MyFitnessPal will help you sort all them sort of numbers out. It's like I say, it's really, really good. Also, foods with a lot of saturated fat in. If you read the nutritional logos, the traffic light system, so obviously red being really bad, that you should only have, say, once or twice a week, or however many times you think is like, whoa, I'm not really going to have much of it. That's completely up to you. That's not up to me. Obviously moderate would be amber. So yeah, like say the traffic light system, red's bad, then moderate is yellow, amber, whichever one you want to call it, and then green is sort of like you can have it every day. So yeah, foods with the red in, that means they've got a very, very lot of it in, like absolutely loads. That's why it's red for. On a traffic light system, you can see some of them where it's like just red, 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 green, yellow, or red. But it's up to you what you do with it. Like I say, MyFitnessPal, you get all you just scan it, like you type in what you're eating, and it sorts you out. You tell it what you want to do, whether you want to lose weight, put weight on, what you're aiming for, stuff like that. There you go. I mean, even mineral water, yeah, definitely, because it's got minerals in. To get that in there as well. So anyway, foods that I've got today are like a lot of saturated fat. It's mostly animal products. So that's things like butter, cheese. Well, butter, everyone says about cholesterol and butter. So yeah, put two and two together. Cheese, yeah, that's, as far as I know, cheese is like the fatty bits from milk. As far as I know, I could be wrong. If I am, then I apologise for that. But that's my understanding of cheese. Whole milk, so that's milk, that's the fattest milk you can get. I think it's the fattest milk you can get, whole milk, the one with the blue lid on. If you're in the UK, that is. I don't know what it's like in any other country. And ice cream, well, yeah, it's like you use whole milk to make that, don't you? So yeah, it makes sense. Also cream. I'm not sure what types of cream. I imagine it's all creams, like whipped cream, clotted cream, the lot. Do you know what I mean? And also like really fatty meats as well. So like McDonald's, yeah, that's got a lot of saturated fat in, yeah, and a lot of salt as well, depending on what you get. So like say for example the Big Mac meal, because I'm absolutely crazy with my nutrition. I see it everywhere. So when I go to McDonald's, I try to get something that's got very, very little in terms of salt and in terms of saturated fat. If I can aim to get a little of them too, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's the grilled chicken wrap. Like it hasn't got very many calories in, because most of it is just like, it's not really a very heavy calorie based meal. It's mostly it's not really got that much in, to be honest with you. One of them, a grilled wrap. But honestly, my nickname used to be Fitness Freak. All sorts. So I'm used to all that now, and it's sort of like a part of my life. But anyway, I'm going off topic again. So yeah, things like that. McDonald's. I've got a lot of fats in, a lot of saturated fat anyway, and that's really bad for you. So yeah, the next time you go to McDonald's or something, if you've got MyFitnessPal, you'll be able to say, oh, I didn't realise there's that much in, because not many, like, fair enough counting the calories in that. This is counting your macronutrients and micronutrients. This is telling you how much everything's going into your body. It's not just how many calories, how much sugar, how much salt, everything. So yeah, like I say, yeah, it's a really, really good app. So anyway, some vegetable oils also, such as coconut oil, palm oil, I think that says kernel oil, palm kernel oil. I'm not 100% sure what that is. I've got it written down in my notes though. Also contains saturated fat. So yeah, I think that's just palm oil. I don't know what the kernel means. Like I say, that sounds like I'm not 100% sure, so I'm not going to go into it. But anyway, that's got a lot of saturated fat in. Saturated fat also increases your cholesterol buildup, so it goes into your arteries, it blocks them, it puts pressure on your blood vessels, all sorts of horrible things like that. You can get clogged and blocked, and then that's when you end up having a heart attack, you end up having a stroke. Yeah, it is quite serious actually. So anyway, now we're going on to monounsaturated fats. Now if I've lost you off already, that is 100% fine, because this is meant to be basic, but I want to cover all types of fats, because me just saying, oh, there's fat in this, I want to be able to be a bit more specific than that. So if I've lost you off already, by all means that's fine, but so far we've covered normal fat, so that's just normal fat really. We've covered saturated fat, which is bad fat, so normal fat is just like fats in general. This is going a bit more in depth. So obviously the saturated fat, which is the bad one, which I've just explained. Now we're going on to monounsaturated fats, which include like oil, olive oil, and I think that says canola oil. I'm like say 100% not sure what that is again. If anyone else knows what canola oil is, then by all means stay away from it, because it will be bad for you. Also there's polyunsaturated fats, which include like sunflower oil, corn oil. Monounsaturated fats are fats from meats, so yeah, they're animal based fats, and polyunsaturated fats are fats from plants. Just so you guys are a bit more alright. So yeah, monounsaturated fats are from animals, so that's like animal meat, and polyunsaturated fats are from plants, just so we've cleared that up. Right, and then there is your trans fatty acids and unhealthy fats, which again it's when vegetable oil hardens in a process called hydrogenation, and hydrogenated fats and trans fats are often used to keep some foods fresh for a long time, and they're also very bad for you. I won't go too far into all this, because it does get a little bit out of everyone's depth who either doesn't do nutrition, doesn't learn nutrition, or anything like that. But I'll give you the basic overall of what that is. So trans fats are used for cooking in most restaurants, so they also again raise your cholesterol levels in your blood, your LDL is what I call it for short. So they raise them in your blood. They can also lower your good cholesterol levels as well. So trans fats, stay well away from them, because they really do mess things up in terms of cholesterol, and they put you more in going to really seriously shift the balance in terms of good and bad in terms of cholesterol in your body. So yeah, you need to stay away from that. I think someone wants to be in the house. Right, so yeah, that's all the fats. That's all the fats in terms of what they are. Now we're going to go into too much fat in your diet. So too much fat, especially saturated, like we've already explained, can raise your cholesterol, which is the risk of a heart attack. Yeah, we've already been over that, so yeah, we get that. Also, cutting down on saturates has been a big thing the government's been trying to do, or they say they've been trying to do. All they seem to do is raise the natural, like the normal level. So, like, for example, let's go into your blood pressure. They've raised that as well. As far as I know, they've raised that, so it's more of a norm, because more people don't have blood pressure that's 120/80, which is what it should be, or what the normal was. I'm still gonna have to double check when I go back to college, do my personal training tomorrow, whether that's actually changed, because that could affect what questions I get on the exam and stuff like that for the nutrition. I already did nutrition last year, but I might have to do it again for this course, just in case. Why do you do nutrition if you're not qualified? Yeah, I've already done it. It's a bit more advanced in terms of geared towards personal training. But I'll find that out, and I can always update this video at some point in the future. So yeah, so cutting down on saturated fat for a start would be a good one, because if you have too much fat in your diet, you're at risk of a lot of things. So stroke, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, heart attack, and I'm pretty sure that's the four basic ones that I know, without going in. Blood clots as well, yeah, blood clots. And damage your brain, development, and yeah, that's covering all of the basics in terms of what fats, if you have too many fats in your diet, do. So now let's go into what happens if you have too little. And surprisingly enough, there's about 8 or 9 different things that can be really badly affected if you don't have enough fat in your diet. So people who are going to go on these diets like, I'm going to have no fat, if it's got fat and I'm not going to eat that, you may want to pay attention, because to have a balanced diet, you need to have fat in your diet regardless. You need it. It helps to it helps to keep you warm, for Christ's sake. Who doesn't want to be warm? But yeah, if you have too little, this is where it's going to hit home, right? Okay, so if you have too little fat, your vitamin absorption is going to be pretty poor. Like what I was saying before about saturated fat. No, it wasn't. It's just normal fats in general. Like what I was saying, why it's important, because of vitamins. So that's why it's got to be on there, because that's a definite one. So yeah, poor vitamin absorption. Eating too little fat can interfere with that, and it can stop you absorbing the vitamins that are A, D, E, and K, because these nutrients are, as I've said before, they are fat soluble. So your body needs dietary fat to utilise them and use them to keep your body going. And once again, like I say, I'll be putting what all vitamins do and what happens if you have too little or too much of them in the description too, so you guys can look at that, because we're starting to talk about vitamins, and I'll also put it in the vitamin video as well. So yeah, so now we're getting into one of like 8 or 9, I think it is. Right, so the next one is depression. Yes, if you don't have enough fat in your diet, you will be depressed. But then again, it can be a bit of a awkward one, that one, because if you have too much, you feel depressed, because you're like, I feel guilty after that. Also, having too little fat, especially like essential fatty acids, if you don't have enough fat, you will be depressed, because your body can only get fatty acids from food. It can hurt your mental health, so therefore leading to depression. They mess around with the hormones and the chemicals produced in the brain too, if you don't have enough fat, so therefore depression kicks in because you're not getting these. And there's all sorts of other sort of disorders that I don't really want to go into, simply because of the fact I'm not really too sure if that's 100%. Like there's other things that are really bad complications, and if we're keeping this simple, I don't really want to go into that. But there's also things that you can get bipolar from having enough fat. You know what I mean? Like, that's mad. That's really mad, that actually. You can also get things like schizophrenia and also eating disorders as well. That can be really serious, an eating disorder. Very, very serious. So, yeah, you need to have enough fat in your diet. That's not to say completely cut fat out, and that's not to say completely go mad, just eating 20 Big Macs. That's not what I'm saying. You need to have a balanced diet, because your diet, essentially, I've said this before and I'll say it again, people's diet, like, people say abs are made in the kitchen, right? And that is 100% true. Obviously, you train them at the gym and you rest them when you come home. But to sort of build them, in terms of actually get the nutrients in your body going, you need to have a balanced diet. It's as simple as that. Well, I say it's as simple as that. It's hard to do. It is really, really hard to do. That's why I recommend getting MyFitnessPal. It'll tell you exactly if you're having a balanced diet or not, really. Oh, pardon me. So yeah, going down to the third one now, about 8 or 9. Increased cancer risk. So yeah, not having enough fat in your diet can essentially increase your risk. It's not saying it's going to give you it, but it'll increase your risk of getting cancer. Yeah, I'm not making this shit up. I'm really not. It's serious. So yeah, if you don't have enough fat in your diet, you're more likely to increase your risk of getting colon cancer. I'm not 100% sure what colon cancer is. Either way, it's a cancer, and I really would not like to have that. I would not like to know anybody who has that, because that sounds really serious, as all cancers are. So I'm not just saying all these ones that are worse than others. I imagine there is, but as far as I'm concerned, they're all as bad as each other. That's a personal thing to me. Not me that's personally had it, but a family member who's had that. Not colon cancer, but cancer in general. So yeah, I understand what it can be like. But thank God that they're okay now, and that's sorted. But moving on, you can also increase your risk of getting breast cancer and prostate cancer too. So if you have a low intake of fatty acids again, you're increasing your risk of getting colon cancer, breast cancer, and prostate cancer. I mean, that is really, really serious. That's not saying you're going to get it, it's saying it's increasing the risks. So if you're doing other things as well as not eating enough fat, yeah, you need to seriously buck up your ideas in terms of what you're eating. But this could be a wake-up call if that's the case. I'm not just telling you all this for the sake of telling you it. It's true, and I want people to know, because not everybody knows all these things. And it's nice to actually see something getting done about it, or see somebody talking about it properly. So that's what I'm doing. I'm doing it because I feel people need to know it. So yeah, number 4, I would like to say 8 or 9. High cholesterol and heart disease. Much like what I was saying about high saturated fat, having too much of that, you're going to get high cholesterol or most likely heart disease from it. I've already touched on that, so I won't go into too much detail, because like I said, I've already covered it in the saturated fat part. But yeah, not having enough fat in your diet can also do that to you. It can also increase your risk of bad cholesterol, and it can also, because I've scrolled a bit down now, just so I'm being sure with you guys. Yeah, heart disease too. So yeah, that's high cholesterol and heart disease from basically not eating enough fat. So you need to watch how much fat you eat, and you need to watch how little you eat. So once again, MyFitnessPal comes in perfectly with that, and I'll leave a link in it. I've got a link in the other 2 videos for that too. So yeah, imbalance of nutrients. That's number 5. Out of, I think there's 8. Like I say, I'll scroll down, I'll find out. There might be 9. This video is probably going to be pretty long. It's like 22 minutes now. But if you guys want to stay and watch all of it, by all means, that's what it's there for. So do that. So the next one is you'll end up. I'm jumping ahead now. Yes, imbalance of nutrients. So especially carbohydrates. If you're not eating enough fat, what will happen is your body will be getting too much of the other things. So it's too much carbohydrates or too much protein, and the effects affect your overall balance of the diet. So this could also lead to health problems. It can also lead to a carbohydrate-rich diet, which will inflate your appetite. So if you're not having enough fat in your diet, it's gonna inflate your appetite. It's gonna make you more hungry. So that's something we don't want, because it starts to piece together. If you for those guys who are interested, it does piece together everything. So if you don't eat enough carbohydrates in your diet, you haven't got much energy. If you don't eat enough protein in your diet, you feel really, really lousy and crap. And also, if you don't have enough fat in your diet, you're going to be depressed as well. So if you're under-eating a lot, and you've already, you're going to feel really bad about yourself because you're not having enough, just as much as eating too many. And you feel, you go into that fat stage, and you begin to feel depressed because you're fat, or because you're starting to gain weight. So yeah, not eating enough and eating too much, essentially, in one respect, can both make you fat. So yeah, so it's not as simple as just saying, I'm going to eat too much fat and I'll be fat, or if I don't eat enough fat, then I won't be fat, because it's not the case at all. So really, eating too much fat can make you fat, and not eating enough fat can make you fat. You know, so if you've got a diet that's essentially not getting everything, not taking everything, you, in a way, you can get fat because of it. It's about how your body reacts to it. Also, if you don't eat at all, yeah, like it's really, really bad, and you're gonna end up with some sort of eating disorder or some sort of anorexia type of case, and we don't want that. So yeah, imbalance of nutrients, it can affect your kidneys, because you end up, if you don't have enough fat in your diet, you end up going into, say, your carbohydrate store, and you go into your protein store, and it can lead to all sorts. You end up getting you increase your chances of getting diabetes type 2. You know, and if you have too much protein in your diet, like I said before, it's going to affect your kidneys and your liver, and it's going to lead to osteoporosis. You know, so if you don't eat enough fat, it tends to have an imbalance of all the nutrients, and they start to use the other nutrients to basically work as the fat. That's not good whatsoever. So yeah, scrolling down to number 6, I believe. Yes, number 6. Oh wait, there is only 6. Oh, I thought it was 8 or 9. Oh well, there's me proven wrong. So this is the last one in the video. You'll end up overeating if you don't have enough fat in your diet. So, do you know when you see these things where people go to say Weight Watchers? Weight Watchers I would not recommend to anybody, simply because of the fact they tell you to eat, oh well, this is fat free. But then, like I'm saying, if it's fat free, fair enough, but to have the same taste, they have to put something else in it. So they end up putting more salt in or more sugar. And sugar is like the caffeine, not even caffeine, it's like the cocaine of today. People get hooked on that more than you get hooked on cocaine and heroin. That's how serious and that's how addictive sugar is these days. So that's what they put in it instead. And what I'm about to explain now about overeating will explain why you might lose a little bit of weight with not fat fighters, what am I talking about? Weight Watchers. You might lose a little bit of weight with Weight Watchers for a short amount of time, and then you put it back on, and you suddenly realise that you put an extra few pounds to what you've already, say had in the past. So I'm going to explain with this overeating. So yeah, you want to pin your logos back and listen to this one. So overeating, if you're always choosing low fat or fat free foods, Weight Watchers, yeah, they tell you to eat just that, I imagine, because most of their diets just don't work. So yeah, when you go to the shop, supermarket, grocery store, whatever you want to call it, your corner shop, or whatever you call it, you should you could be shortchanging your weight loss effects or your efforts, because you're going for foods that are, say, low fat. Like you could put that on you could put low fat on sugar or 0% fat on sugar. They'll still make you fat though, because sugar, when it dissolves in your body, if you have too much of it, it turns into fat. So therefore, that bag of sugar you've said that's fat free, essentially will make you fat. So that's what I'm trying to get to. So yeah, added sugar to enhance the taste. Therefore, the calories, and the salt, not the salt, man, why am I talking salt? It is sugar. So the sugars that are in these fat-free foods, just like I've explained with the sugar, will turn to fat because you end up eating too many of them, and I haven't got enough calories in either. So, if you are eating them right now, like, I would recommend you go for something more along the lines of original. Definitely. If it says fat-free, or if it says, say 90% less fat, usually it's going to have a lot more salt or sugar. It's mostly sugar as far as I know, but on the occasion you do see salt. So, and that will turn into fat. Yeah, so sugar will be replaced for the fat, but it's still fat at the end of the day. It'll still turn to fat if you have too much of it. So that's why I'm saying you'll end up overeating because you're not getting enough of it in. And obviously fat helps to satisfy you. So if your meal's not full, in terms of full fat, and it's like half fat, it's going to be filled with sugar, and sugar is addictive. Therefore, you will end up overeating. So if you're eating a lot more calories, or you're eating a lot more food because you're on a low fat diet, or you're on a zero fat sort of diet type of thing, then the chances are you're going to end up getting fatter because you're not eating you're eating your low fat diet, because you're going to be overeating. You're not going to be eating enough food to satisfy you in terms of fat. So your body's going to be saying, well, hold on a minute, I'm not full. Pardon me. Which hence leads on to you putting weight on, because your body is telling you, where's this fat at? And when the fat's already there, it's just in a different form, because it's in the sugar form, because sugar turns into fat. So when you go to Weight Watchers and you realise that you've lost a couple of pounds, brilliant. But it's the time frame you've lost it. I mean, you're supposed to lose between £1 to £2 a month. It might have changed now, but when I did this, it was £1 to £2 every week. That doesn't sound like a lot at all, but that, if you maintain that to a month, what's 4 times 1? 4. So between 4 and 8 is what I would say would be recommended for how much. But obviously different people have got different bodies, different metabolisms, and different genetics. So between 4 and 8 pounds in a month, I would say, well, as far as I know, is 100%. You're going to end up keeping it off. If you can lose that much in every month, then you're definitely going to be able to keep off what you're losing. But if you're losing, say, like 10, maybe 12, like you say, it depends on your body, but realistically, you're going to end up putting more weight on. Because, like I say, with this whole sugar thing as well, it's really, really bad for you, this sort of thing. Weight Watchers, the total wrong idea. A balanced diet will make you lose weight. If you eat a sufficient amount of fat, a sufficient amount of protein, and a sufficient amount of carbohydrates, as well as your nutrients as well, you will be a happy, healthy person. And you will not have to worry about going to fat fighters. You will not. Why am I saying fat fighters? You will not have to worry about going to Weight Watchers. I'm be 100% sure. You can ask anybody who actually knows what they're talking about, and they will tell you the exact same thing. There's also a documentary called Hungry for Change, and that's got a lot of things I'm mentioning right now in it. In fact, that's on Netflix, Hungry for Change. I'm not sure if it's in all countries. I mean, anyone could be watching this for all I know, but I know it's definitely on the UK one. Hungry for Change on Netflix. Get that on, because that is a very, very big nutritional documentary, and it is absolutely brilliant. So yeah, they'll also say the same thing to you in that documentary, what I'm saying now. So yeah, it's everywhere. So yeah, overeating, go for fat free or low fat, you're going to end up putting more weight on, simply because of the fact that the sugar turns into fat, and you're going to end up having it's going to have a lot more sugar in than it's going to have anything else. So therefore, you're going to end up putting the weight on and put more weight on, because you need that fat as well. So you've got all that sugar going into fat, and then you've got the fat itself going into fat, which is really not good. So yeah, if you're going to get something like, say, Hellmann's mayonnaise, for example, if you're going to get the fat free or the lighter one, I think it's just called lighter, then just go for the original one. You were better off getting the original one than the low fat one or the lighter one, simply because of the fact that they try to draw you in with this whole lighter or low fat sort of malarkey. They're just trying to draw you in, because either way it's still going to have the same effect on you. Just you just feel better about yourself, and you think about buying it more because it says low fat, and everyone's got that problem with fat. This is what I'm saying. The government really aren't trying to sort things out. They're just trying to raise the bar higher and higher, and eventually your BMI, like 30, is going to be acceptable when between 20 and 25 is an acceptable range. They're going to be saying soon that 30 to 35 is an acceptable range. You know what I mean? You're going to have like a pot belly and all sorts, and they're going to be saying, oh, I'm healthy. No. No, it's just not the right way to go. No, it's really not. So yeah, that concludes my video, and it's a lot longer than I anticipated. I mean, it's going to be 35 minutes at least. I mean, I've got to put the introduction in, and I've got to put the outro on. Yeah, it's going to be about 37 minutes, I reckon. But yeah, that is my macronutrients done, and that is the whole fats done as well. I'm more than sure I've covered everything in terms of like a beginner's need to know type of thing. And yeah, I'll see you next Wednesday for the micronutrients. So I'll start off with vitamins and why they're important and why they're essential. And what happens if you have too many, and what happens if you have too little. And then we'll go on to minerals. And then after that, shall go into water and why it is important to have enough water and what happens if you don't have enough. And then after that, I'm going to start doing circuit training. So because I'm going to start doing the circuit training, I've already created a circuit for beginners, and I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to do the circuit myself, and then I'm also going to post, where to find it at. And then I'm going to do the kettlebell one. I'm going to do a kettlebell circuit with all the kettlebell videos I've done. So yeah, I look forward to that. And I look forward to seeing you next week to talk about micronutrients. So until then, I'll see you later.